What if I told you that saying no to your family could be the most liberating thing you'll ever do? Stick around because this story will completely change how you think about family obligations and financial boundaries. Picture this. You're exhausted after working back-to-back 12-hour shifts as a nurse. Your scrubs are still damp with sweat, and you're barely keeping up with rent and student loans. Then your phone rings. It's your mom, casually mentioning a family vacation to Hawaii, business class, of course. And when you can't afford the $1,200 ticket, she drops this bomb. If you can't pay your way, just stay home. Now, that stung. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. The very next day, I get a notification on my phone. My credit card has been charged for 4 business class tickets to Hawaii. Not by me, by my family. Without asking. Without telling me. They just took my card information and booked their dream vacation on my dime. Can you imagine? The audacity was breathtaking. So I did what any sane person would do. I opened my banking app, disputed every single charge, and locked my account faster than you can say financial fraud. But wait, it gets better. An hour later, my sister texts me from the airport check-in line. Why is nothing paid for? And you know what I texted back? Just 2 words. What you said. I stayed behind. All right, but not the way they expected. Now, before you think this was just a one-time family mishap, let me paint you the full picture. This wasn't the beginning of their financial exploitation. It was just the final straw that broke my back. It started years earlier when I was 22. My sister borrowed my credit card for a $600 dress for her engagement party. Her excuse: you work in healthcare and never dress up, so you won't even notice. She promised to pay me back by month's end. Spoiler alert, she never did. Then came my dad asking me to co-sign a loan for their kitchen renovation. It's not even for us, he said with a straight face. It's for resale value. You'll inherit this house someday. Plot twist. They refinanced that house twice and used the money to bail out my brother-in-law's failed business ventures. I was working 50-plus hours a week, drowning in my own bills, yet somehow I'd become the family's personal bank. The responsible one. The nurse with the steady paycheck. The unmarried daughter with no kids who should pitch in because family helps family. But here's the kicker. It was never mutual. When I got pneumonia from working through flu season and asked my mom to bring me some soup, you know what she said? Sorry, sweetie. I promised your sister I'd babysit while she gets her nails done. You understand, right? I always understood. I was trained to understand. When my brother-in-law crashed my car, the car I let him borrow while his was in the shop, my insurance premium doubled. His response: a casual shrug, and that's what insurance is for, right? No apology. No offer to help with the increased costs. Nothing. They were bleeding me dry, drop by drop, and I was so conditioned to say yes that I didn't even realize I was drowning. But that Hawaii trip, that was my wake-up call. The week before they left, my sister texted asking if I could move my payday up because they were short on hotel money. When I asked what she meant, she sent me dancing hula girl emojis and called it a family trip. So I called my mom, trying to stay neutral. Mom, what's this about needing help with hotels? Her response was sickeningly sweet. Oh, don't worry about that, sweetheart. Everything's booked. We just need a little cushion to upgrade everyone to business class. You know how bad Derek's knees are. Wait, what? They wanted me to pay for upgrades on a trip I wasn't even invited to. The silence that followed was deafening. Then her tone shifted completely. Look, if you wanted to come, you should have spoken up earlier. But flights are $1,200 each. If you can't handle that expense, maybe it's better you sit this one out. No hard feelings. She said it like I was some financial burden. Like my very existence was an inconvenience to their luxury vacation plans. I didn't argue. I just hung up, quiet and numb. Then came that credit card notification. 4 business class tickets charged to my account. That's when the numbness shattered into pure rage. All those years of sacrifice. All those canceled plans. skipped meals, extra shifts worked just to keep everyone else afloat. For what? So they could sip champagne at 30,000 feet while I rationed my medication and ate ramen 3 nights a week. That night, I sat down and did something I'd never done before. I calculated exactly how much they owed me. The dress, the loans, medical bills I'd covered, groceries I'd paid for. The total came to over $7,000. But I didn't just sit there feeling sorry for myself. I took action. I booked my own vacation. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. All mine. No guilt, no obligations, no family drama attached. The next day, my dad showed up at my apartment door, still wearing his Hawaiian shirt from the trip he cut short. He knocked and demanded I open up so we could talk. I didn't move from my couch. I just sat there, timing him. 7 minutes of knocking before he finally gave up and left. That evening, I got a voicemail from my mom that perfectly summed up their twisted logic. You really hurt your father today. After everything we've done for you, he flew back early just to talk to you. Everything they'd done for me, I saved that voicemail. Not for sentimental reasons, but as evidence of their gaslighting. My sister tried calling 5 times the next day, then sent this gem of a text. Grow up. You can't punish the whole family over one misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. They used my credit card without permission, mocked my financial situation, and excluded me from a family trip while expecting me to fund their upgrades. But somehow, I was the one who needed to grow up. But here's where the story takes an even crazier turn. A few days later, I got a Facebook message from someone I hadn't heard from in years, my brother-in-law's ex-wife. She's a lawyer who always seemed too smart for him, and she had some information I needed to see. She sent me files, screenshots, bank records, a complete paper trail showing that my brother-in-law had been gambling again, crypto trading this time, and losing massive amounts of money from a family emergency fund my parents had given him access to. But it got worse. The screenshots included emails where my parents were begging her not to report anything, promising they'd fix it and that I didn't need to know. They knew. They all knew about his gambling problem. They'd been using me as their personal ATM to cover up his financial disasters, and the Hawaii tickets were just one small piece of a much larger scam. That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with family financial mistakes. I was dealing with systematic financial abuse. So I did something they never expected. I sat down and wrote them an invoice. Every loan, every emergency I'd covered, every unauthorized charge, itemized and calculated with interest. Then I sent it to the family group chat with this message. As of today, I will no longer be subsidizing family expenses. Full repayment expected within 30 days. After that, I'll be filing reports for credit card fraud. The group chat exploded. My sister called me heartless. My mom said I was being unnecessary and hurtful. My dad said they raised me better than this. That last comment hit different because the truth was they didn't raise me. I raised myself while bankrolling their irresponsible lifestyle. I blocked my sister immediately, left my parents unblocked just to see how deep their delusion could go. Turns out, pretty deep. They showed up at my door again, this time together. My mom clutched some papers, probably receipts and excuses. When I opened the door, she said with a trembling voice, "You need to talk to us." "No," I replied calmly, "I really don't." My dad stepped forward, his face red with anger. "This stunt with the credit freeze and the invoice, it's spiteful. We're your family. And you used my name and credit card to buy flights without asking." I shot back. "That's not family behavior. That's fraud." My mom started crying. "We didn't think it would be a problem. You always help us." "Because you trained me to," I interrupted. "Since I was 22, you've treated me like a walking debit card. I helped because I was taught that saying no made me a bad daughter. But I'm done being the good daughter who bleeds herself dry for everyone else." My dad's voice turned threatening. "Don't talk to your mother like that." "No," I said firmly. "Don't talk to me like I owe you something. I work double shifts while you use my money for luxury vacations. I paid your medical bills while you called me selfish behind my back. He stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. You think this makes you strong? Turning your back on family. I looked him straight in the eye and said, no, but it makes me free. Then I closed the door. Not slammed, just closed it with finality. They didn't knock again. Later that night, my mom left a voicemail in a quiet, defeated voice. I don't know who you are anymore. And for the first time in my life, I smiled at those words. Because she was right. I wasn't the person they used to walk all over anymore. But the story doesn't end there. A few weeks later, someone tried to use my frozen credit card again, this time to rent a car in Hawaii. My brother-in-law, of course. When the bank asked if I wanted to press charges, I had them document everything instead. Meanwhile, his ex-wife was building a case. Turns out he hadn't just stolen from me, he'd been skimming money from my parents' retirement fund too. The same parents who told me he was just going through a rough patch. My dad lost his job quietly after an anonymous tip about his family's financial crimes reached his HR department. My sister sent me one last manipulative letter. 5 pages of fake apologies and guilt trips ending with "we family." Nothing changes that. She was right. We are family. That's what makes their betrayal even worse. It wasn't strangers who stole from me. It was the people who knew me best and chose to exploit that knowledge. 6 months later, I ran into my mom at a coffee shop. She looked smaller, diminished. She tried to rewrite history, claiming they were just trying to hold things together and didn't realize how much I was carrying. No real apologies. No mention of the fraud. No accountability for any of it. When she asked if I hated them now, I said, no, but I don't owe you anything anymore. But we're family, she pleaded. That's not an argument, I replied. That's an excuse. Before leaving, she handed me an envelope with a check for the full amount they owed me, $7,800. No note, no apology, just money with guilt attached. I didn't cash it right away. I pinned it to my wall next to a quote that changed my life. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Eventually, I did cash that check. But instead of keeping the money, I donated every cent to a scholarship fund for young nurses who support their families financially while in school. Because somewhere out there is another version of me from 5 years ago, breaking her back while her family pretends it's normal. Here's what I want that person to know. It's not normal. You're not alone. And you have the right to say no. Today, I'm stronger, quieter, and wiser. I'm still a daughter and sister, but I'm no longer anyone's financial safety net. I don't carry their weight anymore. I carry my own boundaries, my own peace, and the memory of the day I finally said, I am not your ATM. I am my own person. They didn't love me for that decision, but I love myself for making it. So here's what I left behind. The guilt, the fear, and the toxic belief that being the good one means bleeding yourself dry for others. And here's what I kept, my dignity, my financial security, and my life. It's not perfect, but it's mine. And this time, I'm not sharing it with anyone who doesn't treat me like I matter. I used to be the person everyone leaned on. Now I stand tall on my own. And that door I closed 6 months ago, it's still shut, and the key is staying in my pocket where it belongs. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real talk about setting boundaries and taking control of your life. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to cut off financially toxic family members? I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, remember, you're not responsible for funding other people's dreams at the expense of your own.